Hello friends, good evening to all of you. So I am back with another video on sociology optional subject for UPSC CSE mains examination. In this video we are covering population dynamics, population policy and family planning part 1 because in this we are covering basically historical background or the background related to population policy and family planning, and in part 2 we are seeing the current scenario or the present context in the present context, population policy and family planning. So friend, please do these 3 hours. It will really motivate you to continue this awesome course and share as much as possible, and comment and like the video. And you can now also follow us on www.facebook.com/unorthodox academy and hit the subscription button below the video as hard as you can. It might be possible that my speed is little bit fast because in this video there are a lot of things that I have to cover. So friend, in this video we are covering population dynamics, section C, population policy and family planning. So basically India launched its family planning program in 1915 as a part of first 5-year plan and became the first country in the world to have a state-sponsored population program. Family planning was recognized officially in order to safeguard the health and welfare of mother and children. The program was also aimed at aiding national economy by reducing the birth rate concurrently with the death rate in order to stabilize the population. There was not much progress for the next 10 years. The health infrastructure which formed the delivery system for family planning was still developing. The choice of contraceptive was limited to a few barrier and chemical methods and natural methods like Rin method and coitus interruptus. Sterilization for males and females was still not a popular contraceptive choice. The program got a tremendous boost with the creation of separate Department of Family and Planning in the Health Ministry in 1966. An extension approach was adopted, as against the clinic approach of the previous 2 plans, to increase the outreach of services and improve awareness and knowledge about family planning among the masses. There was a significant shift in the strategy of government under the 5th 5-year plan of 1974 to 79. Several important policy decisions were taken and actions initiated to give the family planning program a greater thrust and a new direction. Maternal and child health services were made part of the program. A landmark in the population policy of country was a draft statement of population policy issued in the parliament in 1976, expressing the government's determination to control population growth. Increasing the legal age of marriage from 15 to 18 years for girls and from 18 years to 21 years for boys. Freezing the population at 1971 level until 2000. That means making the populations of the level 1971 up to the year 2000. For the purpose of legislature actions, elections and devolution of central assistance to state for development were some of the important decisions taken by government following the 1976 draft population policy statement. The 1976 population policy was completely at variance with the earlier population policy of the government. In the past, it was believed that the development and education would themselves restrict the rate of population growth, while the government-owned program was restricted to family planning by way of motivating people to accept family planning and providing clinical facilities and other services to its acceptors. The 1976 policy statement, however, noted to wait for education and economic development to bring out a drop in fertility is not a practical solution. The very increase in the population makes economic development slow and more difficult to achieve. The time factor is so pressing and the population growth so formidable that we have to get out of the vicious circle through a direct assault upon this problem as a national commitment. During the emergency period 1975 to 79, coercion and pressure were used in the implementing of family planning program. The central assistance of 8% linked with the family planning performance. For the first time, the Union government allowed some states to initiate legislation for compulsory sterilization. The policies, however, discredited the entire family planning program, and the experiment of government to implement the so-called bold measure for lowering the birth rate in a relatively short period ended in a fiasco. In 1977, the new government ruled out the use of force and coercion, and the family planning program was renamed as Family Welfare Program. This term is important. During the 6th 5-year plan, that is 1980-85, population control was specifically mentioned as one of the plan objectives and integrated in the 20-point program. After the 7th plan 1985 to 1990 was finalized, a revised strategy was adopted for the family planning program. It emphasized on increasing the minimum age for marriage of women, making them illiterate and enhancing their status by increased economic and employment opportunities, improving the health of mothers and children, greater coordination and linkages with poverty alleviation programs, and greater involvement of NGOs in the family planning program. Now under the 8th plan 1992 to 97, Human development was adopted as the ultimate goal, and population control was listed as one of the priorities. The plan undertook a different approach, and there was a complete shift towards indirect measures. The main components of this new approach were as follows. There was a shift in the emphasis from the couple protection rate to lowering of the birth rates. Interstate variations were taken into account. Better performance on population front by state was to ensure larger share of central assistance. Non-government NGOs and the community leaders were involved in a population control programs. Emphasis on improving the social status of women through poverty alleviations, employment generations, and greater participation in panchayat institution and etc. Improvement of basic input, that is information, education and communication. Improving training and infrastructure. Taking up the measures to reduce infant mortality and maternal mortality rate, such as reproductive and child healthcare scheme, that is RCH, and integrated child development scheme, that is ICDS, child survival and safe motherhood schemes launched in 1992-97, and midday meal scheme and etc. The proposition study was to be introduced as a subject in the school and adult education. The International Conference on Population and Development, that is ICPD, held at Cairo in 1994, formalized the opinions all over the world that improvement of reproductive health, that is including family planning, is an essential element of human welfare and development. Promoted by the ICPD and the Indian government, decided to adopt a target-free approach, that is TFA, for implementing the reproductive and child health, that is RCH program. As it is, nomenclature suggests the RCH approach lays stress on reproductive and child health, and quantity of care is an important dimension of the program. In April 1996, all the districts in India were declared as a target-free. An evolution of program a year later came up with the finding that the first reaction of district was to run the program with no target, and hence 1996 and 97 witnessed a sharp decline in performance. The position improved later on, but even now the TFA is not target free in the real sense. The 9th 5-year plan, that is 1997 to 2002, aimed at accelerating the rate of decline in population growth. Efforts were made to remove or minimize inter and intrastate differences on vital statistics through centralized area-specific planning based on need assessment. Emphasis on improved access and quality of services to women and children. Creation of district-level database on quality and coverage indicators for monitoring of the program. From 1996, a centrally defined method, specific target for family planning, have been replaced by first the need assessment and the fulfillment through decentralized primary health center-based planning and implementation of the program. Second one is the improved access and quality of comprehensive reproductive and child health statistics. With the launch of RCH, that is reproductive and child health, in 1997, the focus is on decentralized area-specific macro planning and the implementation with emphasis on improving the quality and coverage of family welfare services. Child survival, safe motherhood, control of sexually transmitted infections and reproductive tract infection are some of the welfare measures needed to improve the quality and coverage of health care for women, children and adolescents. Then the 10th plan endeavored to continue the paradigm shift which began in the 9th plan. And the shift was from demographic targets to focusing on enabling couples to achieve their reproductive goals. Method-specific contraceptive targets to meet all the unmet needs for contraception to reduce unwanted pregnancies. Numerous vertical programs from family planning and maternal and child health to integrated health care for women and children. Centrally defined targets to community needs assessment and decentralized area-specific micro-programming and implementation of programs for health care for women and children to reduce infant mortality and reduce high fertility. Quantitative coverage to emphasize on quality and content of care. Predominantly women-centralized programs to meeting the health care needs of the family with the emphasis on involvement of men in planned parenthood. Supply-driven services delivery to need and demand-driven services. Improved logistics for ensuring adequate and timely supplies to meet the needs. The service provisions based on the provider's perception to addressing choices and convenience of the couples. The 10th plan was strove to operationalize efforts to first assess and meet the unmet needs for contraception. Achieve reduce in the high desired level of fertility through programs for reduction in IMR and maternal mortality rate, that is MMR, and enable families to achieve their reproductive goals. Reduction in fertility, mortality and population growth rate were the major objectives during the 10th plan. So according to the 11th plan document, The percentage of married women using contraception has been the most invasive and tedious contraceptive intervention. Female sterilization remains the most common method of family planning. Men are not being addressed as responsible partners, and the use of condoms or male sterilization remains very low. There are also interstate differences in the magnitude of unmet need for contraception. The RCH, that is Reproductive and Child Healthcare Phase 2 program, which was launched with the effect from April 1, 2005 for a period of 5 years. It will continue during the 11th plan. Couples with unmet need will be identified by auxiliary nurse midwives, that is ANM, and accredited social health activists, that is ASHA, who will also address each couple's concern. The 11th plan aims to achieve a reduction of TFR, that is TFR, that means total fertility rate, and total fertility rate means the number of child or the child a couple will have. So basically in their whole reproductive life or during their reproductions in their whole life. So basically there will be a reduction of TFR to 2.1 by 2012. The National Population Policy hope to achieve TFR of 2.1. Why there is never a 0.1 child? So basically it is an average and it is taken from the mathematics perspective. That's why it is in point by 2010 and a stable population by 2045. The Jansankhya Sthirta Kosh is expected to work in close cooperation with the government, private and voluntary sectors to promote small and healthy families. Now the 11th plan will pay greater attention to voluntary fertility reduction through expanding the basket of contraceptive choices, improving social marketing, increasing male involvement, enhancing role of mass media for behavioral change, and disseminating through satisfied user. The National Population Policy 2000 was endorsed by the Union Cabinet in February 2000. The National Population Policy 2000 provides a policy framework for advancing goals and prioritizing strategies during the next decade to meet the reproductive and child health needs of the people of the India and to achieve net replacement levels, which is otherwise called reduced total fertility rate, that is TFR, by 2010. The immediate objective of the policy was to address the need for contraception, healthcare infrastructure, health personnel, and integrated services delivery. The medium-term objective is to bring TFR to replacement levels, that is 2 or to be exact 2.1 children per couple by 2010 by a vigorous implement of sectoral strategies. And the long-term objective is to achieve a stable population by 245, but in the current news it will be said that it will be increased to 2070, that a stable population will be achieved by 2070. The NPP seeks to 2070. The national population seeks to achieve the population policy seeks to achieve the immediate and mid-term goals through the following means. The first one is that address the unmet needs for basic reproductive and child health services, service supplies and infrastructure. Make school education up to age 14 free and compulsory and reduce dropouts at primary and secondary schools level to below 20% for both boys and girls. Reduce IMR per 1000 live births. Reduce MMR to below 100 per 1 lakh live births. Promote delayed marriage for girls not earlier than the age of 18 and preferably after 20 years of age. Achieve 80% institutional deliveries and 100% deliveries by trained person. Achieve universal access to information, counseling and services for fertility regulation and contraception with a wide basket of choices. Achieve 100% registration of births, death, marriage and pregnancy. Contains the spread of acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, that is AIDS, and promote greater integrations between the management of reproductive tract infection, that is RTI, and sexually transmitted infections, that is STI, and the national AIDS control organizations. Prevent and control communicable diseases. Integrate Indian system of medicine, that is ISM, in the provision of reproductive and child health services and in reaching out to the household. Promote vigorously the small family norms to achieve replacement levels of TFR. Bring about convergence in the implementation of related social sector programs so that the family welfare become a pupil-centered program. Now implementing of NPP as recommended by National Population Policy a National Commission on Population has been constituted. In place of coordination cell, a policy conversion cell has been created in the Planning Commission. In place of technology mission, an empowered action group EAG was launched to give focused attention to 8 demographically weaker states, namely Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Orissa and Rajasthan. The National Rural Health Vision was launched in April 2005. Several states and union territories have formulated their own population policies with specific strategies, goals and programs. All states have been advised to formulate population policies in consonance with the spirit of National Population Policy 2000. So thank you guys for listening me and watching this video. So please do these things. Thank you.